Well, let's get into this. I want you to understand, come here a little bit. We need to talk about something that keeps happening at the Social Security Administration. And that is where, as you know, the Social Security Administration is mostly staffed by Democrats. And as a result of that, micro mini efferees to the Republican Party keep happening. By and through that, a very, very illegal thing happened, which is that a private meeting was recorded and then released to essentially the general news outlets, the legacy news. Now, the big problem with this is that, while we love it, we love the juice. Like, give us the juice, we want to sip the tea. No doubt about it. The problem is this keeps reoccurring. And we're going to see, more and more stuff popping up on these blogs, more and more stuff that's not supposed to be released. That are supposed to be private government communications. Well, I've got one here from the commissioner, the new one of the SSA. And this is him talking about essentially how the hiring process was when Trump reached out to him to go ahead and hire him to be the Social Security Commissioner of the Social Security Administration of the United States. So this is potentially damaging to him, which is why somebody, a Democrat, recorded it and released it. And as a result, I think you need to hear it. He is going to be talking about the process by which he was hired. This is Frank Bisignano, the new commissioner of the SSA, who replaced Commissioner Leland Dudek. Let's get into it. Here you go. This is your new leader of the Social Security Administration in a private communication with other leaders at the SSA.
Yeah, it's about Social Security, and I'm really not. I swear I'm not looking for a job. And
I'm
like, well, what am I going to do? So I'm Googling Social Security. One of my great skills. I'm one of the great Googlers on the East Coast. But that is the headline for the Post. Great Googler in chief.
Okay, so right there, when he, received the notification from Trump that Trump wanted him to go ahead and lead the Social Security Administration, he had to Google it to figure out more about the position because he just didn't know anything about it. So he jokes that people should put as the title of their article, their video, their whatever, that he is official Google in chief, that he's the great Googler. He knew he was going to be backstabbed by employees at the SSA in the very beginning days of him being present at that place. Now, we all know why he took the job. He took the job because he gets a special government divestiture, which allows him to not pay taxes right now on selling a bunch of his Fiserv stock. So he doesn't get hit with 20% investment taxation of a 400 and, basically 80 something, it's $500 million worth of stock sales. That's why he had a financial push to take this job. Of course, there were family matters, etc. But going back to this, he's talking about when he received the notification to get the job and he began Googling the job. Let's keep rolling.
Chief in Google or whatever. By the way, I like to have fun at work. We're allowed to laugh. We're allowed to have fun. We're allowed to know each other's families. We're allowed to be normal. How's that? I'm like, what the heck is the commissioner of Social Security? First, nobody said we're calling you if it was about Social Security, so I'm trying to figure it out.
Okay, so
it's about Social Security.
So the bottom line that happened was they released a private conversation. Now there's more to it, and we'll go through it. But what I want you to keep in head as we go through these details, that this was an illegal act. This was like treason. This was like fraud. This was like some high level, effing it to the man. The man is Frank Bisignano. This was a Democrat, definitely stuck it to him. They did the same thing to Commissioner Dudek. And as a result, you can see why, at the end of the day, the Republicans are trying to clear out some of the Democrats that are in positions at the Social Security Administration to quote unquote kind of cleanse the agency of being just super heavy tilt Democrat. Now, with that said, I'm not giving an opinion as to whether I'm good with that or bad with that. You figure that out yourself. That's your gig. That's your gig. ABC News, new head of the Social Security Administration hired from Wall Street tells staff he had to Google the job when he was offered it. This was released May 22nd, so basically today, although it's now 12:29 a.m. New head of the Social Security Administration says he had to Google, and this is from ABC, Google the job when he was offered it. Frank Bisignano, a former Wall Street executive, said during the town hall with Social Security managers on Wednesday that he wasn't seeking a position in the Trump administration. Okay. And remember, his whole thing was he had $500 million in Fiserv stock, right? Social Security wasn't on his radar. But, Social Security uses, needs to use a lot of the programs that are coming from, the private banking market to, get things kind of pushed forward, hyper automated, AI integrated. So Trump reached out and said, hey, you're my guy. Can you do it? And Frank Bisignano was like, I don't know, maybe. Let me Google it. Okay. The newly sworn in head of the Social Security Administration told agency staff this week that when he was first offered the job in the Trump administration, he wasn't familiar with the position and had to look it up online. Frank Bisignano, a former Wall Street executive, said during a town hall with Social Security managers from around the country on Wednesday that he wasn't seeking a position. Quote, so I get a phone call and it's about Social Security. And I'm really not, I swear, I'm not looking for a job, Bisignano said, according to an audio recording of the meeting obtained by ABC News. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So I'm Googling Social Security, one of my great skills. I'm one of the great Googlers on the East Coast. Quote, I'm like, what the heck's the Commissioner of Social Security, said Bisignano, who now oversees one of the largest federal agencies that's responsible for distributing retirement, disability, and survivor benefits to more than 70 million Americans. Put that as the headline for the Post. Great Googler in chief. He knew they were going to stab him in the back. He knew they were going to go ahead and do this to him. Chief and Googler or whatever, said Bisignano, who throughout the meeting repeatedly bemoaned media leaks from within the agency. It's true. They're a leaking ship. Okay. And here's the thing that I kind of take offense to is that these other legacy news channels, these other media people, they must pay Social Security employees for their information. I don't pay. And you can put me down for that. You can take that to the bank. I don't pay a single Social Security person at the SSA for the knowledge that I have or the knowledge that I'm able to put together from online and things from cases I have. I don't have a single person on payroll or under payroll or around payroll, any of that stuff, above the table, below the table, that I pay to get this info. But it should be alarming to you that there are people at the Social Security Administration that are willfully selling things from the Social Security Administration that are not supposed to be out there. Okay. While Bisignano, who previously served as chairman and CEO of financial technology company Fiserv Inc., brings experience managing large organizations and overseeing complex payment systems to his new role, he has no prior history working in government or with the Social Security system. A Social Security official told ABC News that Bisignano is working, quote, to transform the agency into a premier service organization. I mean, that sounds nice, but it's just, that's not the SSA. It's a non-profit type of thing, but maybe he can pull it off. We'll see. All right. Quote, he's visiting offices and meeting employees to hear their ideas for how the agency can better serve customers in person, on the telephone and online. The official said, as the commissioner evaluates the agency, he has been clear that the SSA will have the right staffing to deliver Americans their hard-earned benefits. Quote, clearly, Commissioner Bisignano was poking fun at himself so that everyone in the room felt comfortable having an open conversation about improving service for the American people, the official added. White House spokesperson Liz Huston, in a statement to ABC News, said, quote, Commissioner Bisignano brings a valuable and much needed outside perspective to the Social Security Administration. Commissioner Bisignano's proven success in the financial services industry uniquely positions him to lead the Trump administration common sense efforts to modernize the agency and improve its efficiency. In Wednesday's 90-minute call, Bisignano sought to calm concerns about the future of the agency amid recent leadership turnover and scrutiny from Elon Musk's government-slashing Department of the Government Efficiency, known as Doge. So remember, you have to understand the spectrum here of what's going on. Trump had Commissioner King. She'd been serving the SSA for like 30-plus years. Got rid of her, put in Leland Dudek. Leland Dudek was essentially honoring Trump and would do what Trump wanted him to do. Commissioner King would not. He got rid of her. He brought in Leland Dudek. Leland Dudek did the scary stuff, the firings, the retirings, mass changes of rules, getting rid of offices left and right. He did the mass changes, the things that are not going to look good to the American people. Trump swapped him out for the white knight, Frank Bisignano. Frank Bisignano has a background that we don't normally see at the Social Security. We will probably not see, nor have we ever seen somebody like this at the Social Security Administration ever. The cost of getting somebody like this is the regular fee of what they get paid, which to a banking CEO like this is nothing. But it's also the ability to go ahead and not have to pay those taxes right now on that $500 million, which ain't such a bad gig. 20%. Wait, hold on. 20% of 480 million. Does anybody know what that is real quick? Hold on. Calculator. Let me get this puppy up. I forget what it was. It was like 400. Let's just say it was $487 million. I don't know if that was exactly the number here. Hold on. Times 0.2. So he doesn't have to pay essentially in taxes $97,400,000 by selling Fiserv stocks. He's allowed to sell them and buy other types of investments. And then, of course, he doesn't have to pay taxes on it. And then as a result of that, he never really has to sell those either because he can just take a loan against them from the bank. So realistically, the cost to him as a pleasantry to do the job, he's making like, 97, 98 million from doing the job by not getting taxed to sell Fiserv. Because remember, he's being forced to sell Fiserv stock. He's being forced to do it because the potential of there being a situation where it looks like bias exists, because Fiserv is the banking industry that to some degree can be competitive in technology, finance, all kinds of stuff. So he's being forced to sell it, and he gets the benefit of that. This is a smart man here. He's a smart man and knows the gig. Now, some of you will hate him because he's on the wrong side of your political fence, and that's fine. But you tell me, when was the last time that we got a super CEO banking expert leading the SSA? Right? We had Commissioner Saul, super rich guy, businesses. He was close, but we haven't had this before. We haven't had like the banking actuarial. We haven't had that guy yet. Okay. We probably never will again. How do you get somebody like that to care about the SSA? Because it doesn't affect him in any way. You know what I mean? All right. So he told the managers in the meeting that Social Security was not going away, and that President Trump also agrees with that. This is America's, quote, safety net. It's not going away. And hopefully you hear me say this every day. He said, who wants me to tell people that? Guess the president. Quote, I've gotten notes about, will the turmoil of the last 5 months end? Are you here to cause more turmoil? He said, I don't think it's the turmoil of the past 5 months, although I will be the fifth since, November, right? Because he's like the fifth commissioner since, Bisignano said. There's been so many commissioners at the SSA. I don't think there's ever been a period at the SSA where there were that many commissioners over and over swapped out. Referring to being the fifth person put in charge of the critical agency since Trump was reelected in November. Because remember, what happened was, Commissioner Martin O'Malley stepped down early because he knew what was coming. And then basically we had this person swapped out for this person, swapped out for this person, etc. Bisignano Bisignano quoted, "Are we having fun yet? Are we okay?" He asked those on the call. Bisignano told the managers that they needed to believe that Doge was helping to make things better, even if it may not feel that way, end quote. Quote, who's heard of Doge? Raise your hand, right? Your bias has to be, because mine is, Doge is helping make things better. It may not feel that way, but don't believe everything you read. Okay. Now, with that said, let's go on this. He said Doge would be involved in rebuilding the Social Security website, integrating artificial intelligence into the agency's phone support system. The head of the agency also told managers that the SSA must adopt a digital-first mindset to meet the expectations. Quote, you're competing with experiences that people have with Amazon. Bisignano officially joined the office and the call to go through all the things that Trump wanted. Now, here's the straightforward bottom line. Trump chose Bisignano because he wants Bisignano's technology from the private market to show how efficient the SSA can become. Many of you will say the privatization of the Social Security benefits starts with this, by using private industry technology. I would say we need better technology because they literally have computers running off of ancient programs at the SSA. So we have to take a step in that direction. We can't just keep it all old, faded white computer stuff. You know what I mean? You've seen it. You know how it is. It's before everybody went black with the plastic, right? The plastic went black and the computer was, So the point I'm getting at here is, at this point, we're going to be seeing more treacherous things done by employees of the SSA to undermine, to injure the Republican Party. I expected this. You should expect this. There's still crimes. There's still federal crimes. Okay. With that said, and I think this is really important. Okay. With that said, and I think it's really important, the SSA is not going to be a pro-Democrat agency with lots of Democrat workers by the end of the 4 years of Trump. I guarantee it. The Republicans were slow to learn. They were real slow on this, that the Social Security Administration is the key to immigration and the key to Social Security numbers and the key to votes and the key to people having money. If you control it, with a hard fist, you lose votes. You control it and make it a positive thing, you win votes. If you control it, at the end of the day, the reality with this whole thing, to be fair, is that if you control it, you make it easier for future generations of your party to succeed. The Democrats have long had control of many things, right? The agencies that are over rules and rights for, civil rights, women's rights, right? Race rights, right? The rights of those individuals that basically are of a particular race, right? Rules and regulations, who can go to school and get a better deal going to school. And then, of course, Social Security benefits, how much money you get from what you paid in. Trump is not going to be able to win over the next 4 years the argument of civil rights to his side. He did a lot of stuff for civil rights. He put a lot of money into minority-based groups, but he's not going to be able to win that argument. That is so entrenched. It's so deep that he's just never going to be able to tap that in the next 4 years. He will begin the change of getting people on his side for having better this, better that. He'll push that, but he'll never be able to do it. However, with Social Security benefits, he might actually pull it off where he takes the Social Security card away from the Democrats. Now, if he does that, the Democrats have a problem because a major voting part that leans Democrat comes from Social Security recipients. A lot of SSI people vote Democrat. Half the SSDI people, a lot of them vote Democrat. Okay, maybe even more. Probably half or a little bit less than half the retired people, they vote Democrat. Although retired people, they tend to vote Republican because it's their money. They want to keep their money. They don't want to be taxed. They don't like to have to give a lot of their money to the poor. They've lived their whole life. They're sick of having to pay for the poor. They are the poor in many of these current situations. We never thought, if you think back, you never think the retired, the old age, people like that, you never think how bad of a situation they would be in currently, considering essentially what's going on. Like you don't think of that. You don't go, hey, you don't think, hey, I'm going to become retired and be impoverished. Like that's not the thought pattern. That's not the logic goal with this. You think, hey, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be good to go. Everything's going to be fine. That's what you're thinking. But, at the end of the day, there's a lot of poor old people, and that's a problem. Mike X said, did a $20 donation. That's absolutely amazing. Let me put a little heart on it. That's a big, big donation. Hi, Walter. Stay safe and rock steady. Dogs are the best of friends. Absolutely. I'm preparing for my journey to go up to Ohio to get surgery for Shadow. Shadow is on his giant puffy pillow right there. Sweetie's on her pillow right over there. Sweetie's going to be going to Fort Lauderdale. Shadow's going to be coming with me. And the reason why is Sweetie is a big, chubby, fluffy piggy puff. And I just can't have her pushing Shadow or moving Shadow with that leg. The leg has to be very, very restricted in movement. I've got to basically get a lot of people on board to help me make sure Shadow has a positive, continuous, really strong recovery. So I'm going to be getting, use my resource. I'm going to call everybody, make sure everything's good, check in with it. I'm going to do it right. Now, with that said, I think this is important. Going forward, the main thing that you're going to be seeing with the Social Security Administration is technology changes with AI in the telephone system, making sure the Social Security numbers are intact, or at least kept private to some degree that they can. And then you're going to be basically seeing, in my opinion, a bleeding off of people that work for the SSA that are Democrats, and a huge, push to bring in more technology-oriented individuals that are Republicans. I think there will be a herd culling, if you will. I think so. I think that there will be a culling of the herd of individuals at the SSA that fall into the Democrat side. I can't say de facto how they're going to do it. I don't know. But I think that's going to happen. The Republicans took until this election to get wise about how important the Social Security Administration is. If you go back 5 years, 10 years, people looked at it like, it's just this little liberal social, thing. And, at the end of the day, to be really, really fair, at the end of the day, to be really, really direct, I think that Republicans had a harsh awakening to the reality of how effing important the Social Security Administration actually is. It's not just something you can constantly flirt raising the retirement age of, and then, basically, blushing in back rooms about what they're going to pass next year. So I think the Republicans have to learn, and they have learned a lot. I think the Democrats are now having to play catch up with essentially the situation of the Republicans getting smart about something the Democrats have been very smart about for a very long time. Now, with that said, whoever recorded this committed a felony. I don't know how they're going to find him, but I will say this, that person, whoever they are, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had a way of tracking which phone system it was recorded from. Because, remember, different phone system, different static, they could figure out which room it came from. And then it goes down to who was actually there. I would not be surprised that we might actually see in the not too distant future a hot sheet from OIG, right? Social Security Administration's OIG, Office of Inspector General, where they found the person who recorded and leaked that communication. You know what I mean? I don't know. So we'll see. ACC did an awesome donation, $9.99 donation. Let me put a little heart on there. And again, a really big thank you to Mike X for the $20 donation, and ACC big donation with the $9.99 donation, which is absolutely amazing. So the big thing here is, and I hope you guys understand, I've been watching a lot of what's going on with the Social Security Administration. I've been watching a lot of what's going on politically. A lot of my videos have been about what's the future of the SSA going to be. And that's because I needed a break. I was getting bored with constantly doing, how do you learn disability? What do you need to know about the listings? How do the griddings work? What's the new statute coming? I got bored. I needed a refreshment. You know what I mean? It happens to me too. You may have noticed I have a relatively unhealthy relationship with Social Security because it is too much of my life. There's too much. Like, if you look at the bubble around me, it is too much constantly around me. But it is what it is. The truth is, I want people to have more. I want people to be happy, and I want people to not financially be in this disgusted situation of not being able to afford the basics. I never thought I would see. Have any of you guys thought about retirement benefits? Remember above Auschwitz, right? Work will set you free. We are approaching that theoretical logic. We are. You work your entire life. I don't care if it's at the minimum wage. I don't care. You work your entire life. And if you are impoverished at the end of the day, then we have a failed nation. And I'm going to tell you something. Socialism can't fix that. Neither can capitalism in the way that we use and abuse it. Have any of you noticed? I'm going to put this out there. I just want you to be understanding. Have any of you noticed that we don't have regular capitalism in this country? What we have is monopoly-based capitalism. Some giant company, some mega wealthy family buys up entire industries all the competitors, and then they move to another industry, buy up all the industries, all the competitors. The biggest corporations in America are all owned by the same families, and there's only like 15 of them. And they own the entire industry on this stuff. So my point to you is this, okay? Next time you're sitting back wondering, why is it like this? It's not like this because Americans really screwed you over. Oh, it was those Democrats. Oh, it was those Republicans. Oh, how dare those independents. No, it wasn't that. It was the ultra wealthy. The ultra wealthy control the politicians. The ultra wealthy control how much you pay for a can of soup. The ultra wealthy control how much your medical treatment is going to cost. The ultra wealthy control the trade lines, the cut down trees, the basic building blocks, the quality of the air we breathe. They control that. They do. Because anything you need is a utility that they're going to sell. So anyways, everybody, the next video, you know how it works. I'm going to go live and answer questions for free. Attorney Walter Hnot, I hope you have an amazing night. Please remember to hit the like button. There's 852 people live right now on this show. There's only 208 likes. Come on, hit that like button. I gave you back end system information from a recorded illegally, audio recording with explanation as to what Biden did compared to Trump, compared to Frank Bisignano, compared to Commissioner Martin. Come on now, give it a little like there. All right, with that said, please remember to like and subscribe. The next video I'm going to do in about 5 to 10 minutes, I go live and answer for free Social Security disability questions. As you know, Attorney Walter Hnot, the most viewed and subscribed to disability attorney in America, also the most clicked on. With that said, please remember to like and subscribe and go to Google. If you like these videos, head to Google and type in Disability Resolution Law Firm or Disability Resolution Florida. Throw some stars up there for me. I love waking up and seeing those, okay? You don't have to, but you can. Also, with that said, please remember I go live on Mondays and Thursdays. We're about to go live, and I'll do the video. And the next thing is, if you have a really tricky situation, private session below. I'm doing 2 of them tomorrow because we got overloaded. I'm doing a lot of them at 12 noon and 3 p.m. now because they just people fill up the calendar. They fill up my calendar docket. With that said, if you need a private session, mini contract is below in the bio. I will catch you in the next video shortly. Rock and roll. And I will see you in about 5 to 10 minutes. Thank you so much, Attorney Walter Hnot. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.